All right, folks. Welcome to the next
doing
installment.
I'm working on something.
You good? You done? You feeling
It's never
All right.
ending penis.
Okay, you can start now.
it? Thank you. I appreciate you.
I do the thing where I hit the button.
Yeah, I got you.
All right,
We
can
hit the
start.
button.
We're good now.
All right, folks. Welcome to the next installment of the Dismount Podcast. And today we are saddling up and we are discussing Go with the Flow. Does a surfer ride the wave or control it? So, what the hell does that mean? Honestly, how do we want to define it? Do we want to define that wave as the journey of life? Do we want to define that wave as societal impact on your personal self? That whole like personal beliefs and the social paradigm that we had talked about earlier in different episode. Like, what is this actual wave to us? And to me, in my opinion, this wave is moving through life, the flow with the flow of not constantly pushing against who you should be, man. Like who you feel most authentic as. That's where for me, my opinion is the surfer always rides the wave. And that's where, for me, the wave sits. So how do you feel about that? What is your thoughts whenever we threw out this topic to discuss today? What was your initial idea of what the wave was, D?
I mean, in my interpretation, like what, like the I was reading about it, and it was like, yeah, I couldn't put my own words to it, but someone said something. It was like the waves, the music, and like the surfers, like the song or something like that. I have to like read it. I know I wrote it down, but can't actually articulate the way someone else would. So I know I wrote it down.
Well, if you get really scientific about
I was
it,
thinking about oh, here you go. Um, yeah, the dance and the song. Your wave is your song, and then the way you surf, obviously, the surfing is the dance to it. So it's like the art of doing, and that makes a lot of sense as far as life goes, to me at least. Um, Trying to put it into words is tough when it's something that's like as broad as that to me. But I think what's nice is you can actually see that, like, to me, like your wave itself is kind of just life in general, and you can't really control like the start or the beginning, or even what's happening during it. But like the preparation or the amount of effort you can put into making sure that you're 100% aware of the opportunity and taking full advantage and being present in it is the important part.
yeah.
So like, yeah, like the dance and the music, yeah, that's a nice way to say it. But I guess the way like I then broke it down from there is like, okay, like the surfer is only in control of themselves in that situation, where their feet are, how they, what wave they decide to be on is, I guess, something that you can control as well. But to me, I'm more thinking of once you're up there already, you don't really have a control of what's happening after you're up on the wave.
Yeah. Where when we initially threw this down, Tit, where did your head go?
So my gut response was literally like, surfer, wave, and just the concept of water. Like we can resist water as much as we want. It's not going to work. Like eventually water will, yeah, I'm not going to say control you, but it will steer you to where you probably should go. And I think about the surfer as much as you like want to go against the waves, they're going to start pulling you back. Or, if you're not really controlling the board, it's going to take you where it wants. If you're not mindful of that, trying to make small changes, it's going to take you there. But I also feel like it's necessary to talk about like kind of what you guys are saying in the sense of the dance and, your purpose and, that wave is taking you a certain place and that you really shouldn't ignore it. Like as a lot of people like myself, you see signs and those signs are starting to like indicate to you like, hey, maybe this is actually the path. And then the more you try to fight the path, the more difficult it becomes and the more treacherous at times. So that was my initial response, was just, as you guys were saying it, wow, yeah, it is kind of like a dance. Like it is like a dance and a song and a purpose. My initial thoughts on it was that we play a role with the wave and where the wakes go behind us. Someone made a really interesting comment. I think it was Wayne Dyer. He talks about like the wakes behind you leave the path. Man, I can't remember exactly how to pull it together, but the wakes behind you aren't really defining like what's ahead of you. It's just what's behind you. And as the surfer goes, we should, be more mindful of where we're headed and what the direction is, rather than trying to think about like trying to white knuckle it or trying to focus too much on where we were. But instead, we should really just be focusing on, okay, where are we going? What does this mean to me? And in my own life, I feel like there's been times where I've went with the flow a little too many times,
Yeah.
and sometimes I, need to kind of be more mindful. So that was kind of where my head was at on that.
Derek hit it hard with the awareness. Like if you don't have the awareness of the wave, or you don't have the awareness of any of the actions that you're doing, then all of this is a negligent conversation.
Yeah.
Because if you don't even have any type of understanding of just, whoa, what is it that's going on here? Like, why am I here? Wait, well, what am I doing? Like, if you don't start to think about any of those kind of things, then thinking about riding the wave is just, the wave's already got you. You've been encapsulated by it, and you don't realize that you're riding the boogie board. You're not the surfer on top of the wave.
Yeah.
You're the little kid getting rocked.
Well, it's like the benefit of like trying to like in my job, like trying to go into every conversation with a blank slate and not let like the prior conversation affect how I'm going to have an interaction with the next person, because in all reality, that is that person's only interaction with me. They don't care that I've had 79 other exactly the same reactions. But like, I guess that's where you're at your best, if you look at every single opportunity with like a blank slate, like because like that's when I'm at my best. Like when I'm like on the phone and I'm like not thinking of anything but the current situation, that's obviously when I'm at my best. And that's the same thing as like if I'm playing soccer. Like if I'm playing soccer, I'm at my best when I am fully aware of the situation that is directly in front of me. If it's anything outside of that, then I am even the slightest bit distracted, then I'm not at my peak performance in a situation. Like, in the comparison to surfing, it got to be the same thing. I've never surfed a day in my life.
Yeah.
I might not ever, but like you watch it enough to know that like, what you're seeing there. What you're seeing is a present human being who's like obviously incredibly talented in what they do. But I think that's like, that has to be the number one thing, is like most people in like a skill type setup is like I'm fully present in my awareness of what I'm doing and what my goal is, or at least knowing like, hey, like what's in front of me is all that matters.
Well, they talk about extreme athletes having that laser focus of just being like, all it is that moment. Like they get lost completely in the moment. So barreling down a hill on a mountain bike doing slope style, and there's nothing other than what is in front of you and what you're doing at that moment in time. I had a conversation with a buddy this week, and we talked for a good while, and hadn't talked to him in a long time. And we had joked about like, if you thought about the last time, and we've said this before on the podcast, and like you guys made the joke of like Titty hanging out last weekend, but I thought about like the last time I was able to sleep over one of my buddy's houses back in like 9th grade, not a single person was thinking about, oh, we play Mount Lebanon next week in football. Like not a single person. Everything was that Saturday that you were at your buddy's place. Like nothing else mattered other than the 6 Xboxes that you had hooked up to all the different TVs, and like the multiple LAN party that you had going. Like nothing else mattered. You were 100% in the moment. So you didn't even have the opportunity to sit there and have awareness of, wow, what wave am I on right now? But no, you grow up and you start doing all this stuff that pulls you away from feeling like you're living in the moment. And you're like, wait, what is the moment? Like, oh, my moment is I was just frustrated for no reason. It's someone who I don't even know what their face is. They just sent a shit email to me. And I'm just like, I don't like that sarcasm. So now I'm all pissed off. But I don't even know who this person is. You know what I mean? Like, where?
Met this person.
So you start just beating yourself down at this older age of like, I think we've been granted such a superpower in starting to have that awareness because, I mean, how many people are having conscious conversations, like real conscious conversations of being able to, like, for instance, this past weekend when we were at John's, we started talking about this topic with everybody. And Cheeto threw out a beautiful line of just, there is more than enough gnar out there for everybody. So it is not about like being upset that somebody else got a wave. Like you cheer on that other person for their wave and their moment. Yeah. For your moment will come at some other point in time. But there's more than enough out there for all of us. God. So the conscious surfer, like...
I'm still so bad about that.
Yeah.
Like if someone pulls into a drive-through that I'm about to pull into, before I do it, I'm like, why did you do that? Why did you go? It's my turn.
Why did you cut me off?
It's my turn to go. Now.
Everybody drives the whole way around the building. You just cut in. That is not how this works.
Yeah. Now I'm never going to.
Again.
Yeah. No, it's just like, it's exactly true. And I think that's something I've been guilty of in the past too. It's like not seeing, hey, am I doing everything that I could be doing in the situation to guarantee that like I, to guarantee that I wasn't like, slighted in some manner or anything. And like the answer is always no. It's always no. You're not always doing it. Chances are like 99% of the time in any manner, like that person that you're looking at with a shitty look on your face actually doesn't have anything to do with you at all. You're just like seeing something that like, you wish you could obtain without more effort. That's in my opinion.
Wow.
That's like, that's just because it's looking back at me. So, I mean, that's important too, is like being aware of the situation you're finding yourself in, but like also knowing like it just seems like with like something like this, like in life or going with the flow, like you can't really control what you do or what happens to you in the short term at all. Like what's going to happen, like someone can kick down that door right now. There's nothing I can do. But like, in the long term, again, you're still going to have those short-term occurrences pop up, but you can put yourself in a better place to, like, what's the luck, the opportunity and preparation quote or whatever it is. Like, that's kind of the same thing. Like,
what is it?
Because most of
preparation meets opportunity
equals luck. Yeah, exactly. Like I think most people would probably say that, like, I don't know what you call luck, and like for the interest of this conversation, like, luck is a lot of it. Like you kind of just like, you got to just kind of have faith in yourself and in your abilities and trust where you want to go is where you're going to go. Like the one quote, I was just looking at surfing quotes and it was like, well, I've written down here. It's like, you can't ride the waves until you get past the fear of wiping out. And that's so easy. It's like in a surfing 101, but like, that's the exact comparison to what we're talking about is like, you can't be afraid of what you don't know. You can only just trust in what you do know. I think that's crazy because we get so lost in like what we can control short-term, like short-term gratification, that we have no interest in putting ourselves in a situation to succeed instead and just hope for the best, because that's actually what happens anyway.
Right, because at the end of it, all that you can control is your reaction or your emotions towards a situation.
Yeah. And even then, people will say, well, you can't control your reaction to a situation. And like, not like instantly, like I can't like leave here and like change every way I look at everything forever. But like, I feel like there's like there's like a muscle, like anything you can train to not react or feed into certain thoughts. So like I don't know. I know like looking into this, like it goes both ways. Like, can you control what you think or can you control how you react? And like I'd argue, yeah. I just feel like it's a lot of work, and maybe it's even not like controlling how you react, but like being able to like smell it out, like that. Oh, that's my wiring. Like I know that's how I gotta not even put myself in that situation.
Yeah, but right then and there, you said it. It's a lot of work, and that's taking self-stock. Like I have to inner stand myself before I can outer stand myself. But how often do we really want to have those conversations with ourselves? Or I guess what I'm trying to say is what starts to change, and what I've noticed for myself is it's not that I don't have those reactions ever again. It's that, oh, whoa, dumbass. You just realized in 2 seconds that you were just a dumbass. Last week, it took you 6 seconds to realize you were a dumbass. So, like, you start to break that down, that barrier of how long it takes you to realize, like, what did I just do? Why did I just react that way? Oh, but if we don't have those conversations with ourselves, we just let the next song come on the radio, and then that next song gets me, oh, yeah. And then I drive 5 minutes down the road, and I totally forget that I ever lost my shit on some guy because I never had the awareness that I was even doing something. I just was mindlessly, basically moving through life. And that's what I mean, fudge. That's all it comes down to is awareness.
Yeah.
And like, it's like hard to even really have any of these conversations because if it's all going to 100%, every single one of these things is going to stem back into some form of being conscious about what your actions are, which is just awareness.
I think that kind of falls in line with our overall theme for like personal growth and understanding ourselves is, there's this choice in programming that we have, and we're, actively trying to seek out, where all of our buttons are and what buttons we need to add, what we need to take away, and trying to figure out, okay, what programs are serving me, what aren't serving me. And I think there's something that you guys were saying, and I was like, man, that's tied together in a really good metaphor. Like when you wipe out, don't get mad at the water. Like that's not going to help you.
Yeah.
It's not going to help you to get mad at the water, and don't get frustrated when you get back up, because then you're not having fun anymore. And there was something I found in here. You guys already know that I keep tabs of like little journal stuff, but I found one on here that looked really interesting, and I was like, law of least effort. What is that? So I was taking notes. I was taking notes earlier today, and I was like, all right, I'm going to sidestep for a second. What's the law of least effort? Because that caught my attention. And I think this is the perfect place for it. I was going to save it for the end.
Oh, fired up, dog. I like it.
So it's under the economics of energy, law of least effort. I imagine that's some kind of a book. I took a note sometime. No one teaches you should work joyfully. Nobody says you should be effortless or learning should be fun. Why are you working so hard? You make yourself miserable in the process of working because you believe that working hard is the only way to accomplish anything. It's like, huh.
Fudge, dude. Oh man, that's a zinger to me. So
one line said,
freaking good, dude.
Nobody says that love should be effortless. I missed that line.
I just did that this week too. I just sit around and go, man, if all I do is focus on working really hard, chances are I'm just going to run myself into the ground, and then I'm not going to want to work at all. Like there's no like, God forbid, that's the interpretation to me, right? Like that, like maybe I'm just a human being, and you kind of got to be like kind and loving to yourself, and maybe you should just chill out a little bit sometimes, or approach things in a different manner, or any of that bullshit at all.
Bingo, dog.
God forbid.
Fudge, dude. Can I drink my own Kool-Aid on this one? Like, can I drink this Kool-Aid? Like, please.
Sorry, you can't, dude.
Goodness gracious. Like, we work on this podcast, and whenever I'm not like, oh shit, I gotta get this, and that done, all of a sudden I sit down and I edit 3 episodes, and I'm like, wait, that took me only 6 hours? That would have taken me
Yeah.
6 days. And I'm like, whoa, I wasn't stressed. I was just like, oh, this is a perfect time to just go tinker with some stuff. I'll do some work. And then, oh, wait, 6 hours. I'm done with 3 episodes. Holy shit. Like, so those days whenever I don't feel like, those days whenever I haven't thought about like, oh, I got to get this, and that done. Oh, the to-do list is adding up. The to-do list is adding up. No, the days when I just roll into it, like, man, some days those are way more productive than the days that you're like, here's the to-do list, have to get that done. And I'm not sitting here saying that there isn't still room for that in your life, because that's got to be there, because that's going to build the discipline to even get you to be able to do the other stuff regularly, you know, with consistency.
You got to paddle to the wave
Yeah.
before you can ride it.
I mean, if we're looking at this wave as just 100% being like our journey in life, if you really took it to a scientific level of energy and vibrations, like all we really are is just light waves. Like we are really waves just out here in this ether, and we're a certain wavelength that allows us to be able to be seen at this visible spectrum to each other.
Yeah.
And like, damn. So I'm already on a wave. It's not that like it's a wave of actually my journey as a human, but like it's a wave of just my experience as a soul too. Like moving through the different atmospheres, the different, you know, dimensions and whatnot. There's just so much to it. It's more than just who we are right here, as we've said before, that mind, body, and spirit. But if we're to take it to a place of, you know, being realistic, oh, what a bold word, you know. Society is what society is, and we experience what we experience. So my question would be, when do you guys think there might be a time when you need to band up as a fellowship and push back against a wave? Be that a common enemy or a common movement that you don't agree with, or a radical movement that needs to potentially be suppressed before it becomes something bigger than what it should be? Like, is there going to be times in your life when you actually think that there are going to be places where you have to push back against that wave? Not allow it, not even try to ride it, just like...
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like it's part of being brave and not having the fear of it is the whole battle there. Like, I don't know, pushing back on a wave has gotten a surfer anywhere. I'm going to argue probably not. But like, as far as, you know, something being a tougher, you know, terrain than they might have imagined, or, you know, the wave crashing sooner, or whatever it may be, regardless of the semantics of, you know, including surfing into this. But
Yeah.
I think that, yeah, I mean, you just have to be. You can. I guess it probably just goes back into what you can control about yourself. Like what you control is like, you know, your intentions and like, you know, your beliefs in something. So you know, you should have an idea of what you're trying to get out of any situation, and those should probably coincide with the beliefs that you hold true to. So like, I think that's just part of your way, but I think it's just like it's still holding true to who you are. That's the biggest thing in that situation, is like, you know, if you're riding that wave, chances are you should just trust in what you bring to the table in any situation and let that come out, as opposed to really overthinking it, or, you know, having to search for the identity. I think that, like, you know, so I think like the go with the flow question was interesting to me. Like in two manners, like that can be interpreted different ways. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like it's like go with the flow, like what? Like you just give up all control so you're in control of nothing? Or is giving up all control actually like controlling everything? Because like you're not control it can be two different ways. Like if you're not really controlling things, maybe you are controlling things. Like there's a lot that goes into it as far as I'm concerned, and kind of just juggling what that actually means. But what I can see as far as that would be like, you know, knowing who you are, staying true to it, and then I would argue like the ultimate freedom would probably be from giving up control and just knowing that like, hey, I trust where this is taking me as long as I stay true to who I am.
Yeah. What comes across me, side quest or not, that feel authentic, feel true to myself, feel like, oh, this might add something to my life, or what comes across that you're like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
That's not. Well, I don't agree with this, and that comes down to the four agreements of making those decisions of stuff that comes across to you right then and there. You have to make that choice, as Tit said. You have to have that discernment in that instance sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And boy, that's hard, dude.
And there's a lot of rewiring there too. Like we can't like back to things we can't control. Where you came from, like where you're brought up, the circumstance to which, from a very young age, all the way through, especially through formative years, like what was shown to you. Like I still think about how that affects me on a daily basis. Whether it's like it's anything in life, like anything that could have happened along the way. It could have been a freaking basketball game when I was in sixth grade. It could have been literally anything. But it's interesting to see like how that wires you. So then you end up in habits that you feel like you don't have control of, but in all reality, like acknowledging them and trying to work to change them is something you can actually do. But again, acknowledging them is the first instance in that.
I could drop like a really crazy like synchronicity that I had of like the way that I went through the flow of my life. It connects a little bit more to next week's episode. And just an interesting topic that I had there, but I don't know, I'm going to hold that one back. But my thoughts are just is there a time to build a dam? Like that, we're not just talking about being a surfer on a wave, but like we live on a beach and waves are constantly coming in, and those are society's, views that are being pushed onto us through social media, through television, through movies. Like when do you think there's going to be a time to actually push back? Like when do you think, man, I don't want to go dark. I don't want to go dark. But when do you think we're actually going to finally come together and be like, band together for like, we got to protect these kids? Like, when do you think like we're actually going to get together and riot in the streets and say like, we're taking down this shit as a group? Because we rioted for different races. We've rioted for homes. Like, when are we going to do some like rioting for like something that is every single person can get behind? That's where I'm saying of like, when are we finally going to, as a collective consciousness throughout this world, finally maybe potentially make some dams? And like, were there dams that were built in the past in our history that we don't even fully respect or have gratitude for those dams?
Like what?
Like a constitution. I'm not going to sit here and fully argue that, because that'll get all kind of different politics and stuff involved with people's views on that. But I'm just saying, like, as opposed to living in a country where there's a dictator versus here where, we're not really a democracy, we're a republic, but like, we have a lot more freedom in this situation. And that's what I'm saying. Like, so as long as we're like the majority that's pumping out all of the news to the rest of the world, like, fuck, man, like, when is there going to be a time when the collective gets together and can band together for things that, are all of us can agree upon? No, you don't think?
No.
Do you think there's always going to be like
monetary value included in us being opposed against each other? There's just like it'll never be especially there's more ways to take in knowledge than ever, and as much as people have influence and control of that to get money out of, then the answer is no. Like it's just greed. Greed will trump most of that, in my opinion. Like unfortunately, that's just the case. And if there is any traction made on it, it's because someone feels like they can make money off of it. Like that's just unfortunately, anytime you try to pull people together under like a common instance, it usually gets fucked over by money.
Yeah.
Every time.
So that right there makes me 100% believe in the fact that there are different densities that I can move through is as my soul body. Like that just 100% tells me that, because I don't agree with the way that things are here. I don't. As a whole, as a collective, I just don't. And my views on this world, like I have some really crazy out there ideas that would rock some people's fucking socks. That are thoughts that have come to my head that, like, dude, I did not grow up with any connection to any of these esoteric or people who were studying consciousness or expanding your mind. Like I didn't grow up with family that were hippies that exposed me to any of this stuff. And like I had all these crazy ass thoughts through my 20s. And that's where I was going with, I went with the flow, and fuck it, I'll tell the story. I went with the flow back when I was a freshman in college. I smoked weed for the first time and I got duped into it, but I was intelligent enough. I had so much awareness of what was happening in the situation, but I rolled with it. I say, you know what? What the hell? It feels right. That has led me down this crazy effing rabbit hole of having like, was it that I started smoking weed throughout my 20s that led me on to having these different lucid dreams? But people try to say that smoking marijuana like takes down your ability to have lucid dreams. Where the hell were these ideas coming into my head then?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one thing I looked into too. Is like you're not the author of your thoughts. Like it's just not true. Like if you were like to think your own thoughts, then like you're not. There's someone else there. There's something else there. Like whether it's like it just doesn't make any sense for you to like write your own thoughts because how'd you think them? Like where'd they come from? It's just not. It doesn't seem like that rings true to me, at least in the way that I think of things. I think all you can control is like when a thought enters your head or like the circumstance you find yourself in, the environment around you, then like that's what leads to things entering your brain. But like, man, it does feel like there's like, I don't know if it's like divine intervention or whatever, like how, they wrote the gospels or whatever it may be, but it's like, it does feel like there's, by the steps you take, you're leading yourself down different paths to unlock different things that enter your mind or different gateways popping up or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean, it's interesting to think too. You feel that way just because, like, it's just like you're right. Who's to say otherwise? You don't know that. You put yourself in a situation. You felt like it was right, and then it's like, man, I didn't really think this way before. So, like, if I had to pinpoint something, maybe it's that. But just interesting to hear because you really don't know.
We were walking out. This was at Pitt Johnstown. We were walking out to this like cool like lot, like grass field, okay? And I was with two kids, and these two kids were my dorm mates. And we had a full white owl, like big guy that he was just smoking like white grape, just like cigar, just the big thick John. And I was like, dude, if you can smoke that whole thing before we get out to that grass field, I'll blaze down with you guys. And so I'm talking to the other homie. We're walking, blah, 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 blah. We turn back. He's got this. That's all that's left. Okay. And I'm like, man, I'm not stupid. I know he didn't smoke that whole fucking thing. He's like, dude. And he's been coughing the whole time that I was looking this way. Right. And I'm like, no, he didn't do that. Like I didn't smoke a lot. Like I didn't smoke a lot of cigars throughout high school. So like, I don't know like how quick you could really suck one of these suckers down, man. But I was like, nah, that's bullshit. So I ended up blazing down with them because I was like, damn, dude, I'll give you credit. And I knew it was bullshit, but I blazed down with them. And that's when the first time when I just sat there and I was like, I was feeling the grass and I was just like, dude, I feel so much with nature. Why do I feel like,
It's like
I am a
harmony.
part of nature? Like I totally feel like I'm connected back to nature.
Yeah, I feel
And
like
at that age, I wasn't having conversations of like, my body is literally nature.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I wasn't having those thoughts. I didn't think about those kind of things. I was thinking about getting laid. Like how many girls was I gonna bang like there, dude? Like honestly, like I was 20 years old. Like I was 18. I'm sorry, I was 18,
the next few
dude.
hours.
Yeah, like
No, but
the hell? Like I'm gonna drink a bunch of beer and I'm gonna play some video games and then I'm gonna go try to get laid. That was what I was thinking about. Like,
Yeah,
you
had-
can't fucking deny it.
I feel like you had, but like even then, you had like goals in mind. You had things you wanted to accomplish, even at like the age of 20 or whatever. Like, all right, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna go, accomplish whatever dumb thing that encapsulated your mind at that point. But I think
I wanted to build roller coasters.
Okay, well, you didn't.
Dog, it's cool.
What
We're
I'm
roller
trying to
coaster
say
tycoon.
is,
We got it.
if we're going all the way back to like the present moment, and that's when I'm at my best. I think that like that's probably when you're sitting there feeling nature for the first. It's probably the first time in a long time, especially like a brain that's like fully developing or finally getting those final stages. You're like actually slowing down and actually like the harmonization of like, dude, like whatever it's, I don't know if there's some guy walking, I always see these like depictions of like people's perfect mornings, like, oh, the window's open and the birds are chirping and there's a breeze and I made a cup of coffee and I'm very peaceful. Like that is like a perfect sign of harmonization to me. I don't know what the fuck that feels like. I have no clue what it feels like to like be peaceful and open a window and I'm like, it's 6:45 in the morning. I am well rested. I'm looking forward to the workday. There's coffee in my hand. A great opportunity for that is. That sounds great, but I have no clue what that feels like. But I feel like when you smoked pot for the first time, you may have felt something like that.
Probably.
Because that's what I imagine. That's what goes back to like the surfing instance of like there's someone who's you're just fully there, like right then and there. You are where your feet are, like because you can't. I mean, especially in that, like being stabilized, like you have to be where you are.
Yeah.
And if you're not, you're going to get taken under.
Yeah. By what? I don't know.
I don't know.
Emotions, feelings, or something, shame. All kind of potential negativities. That is what would arise. Like, what else would arise other than that? Because if you're aware of the situation and you're enjoying your present moment, then there's nothing else but peace in that situation, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, but that's where I'm throwing out that negative side of this so we have that awareness that there's something out there that we don't agree upon. Like, well, fudge, dude. Like, I don't know. That's where I'm starting to dig into the esoteric thoughts of your ultimate situation here is to not impede another's free will. Like if you don't fuck with somebody else's free will, then your karma is clean. You have not messed with another person's opportunity to experience everything that there is for life.
Yeah.
You haven't expected anything out of them. You've just shown them love, understanding, and compassion. And that's what Christ consciousness is.
Yeah.
That's all that Buddha and Jesus and them were talking about.
It only benefits you too. Like it only directly benefits you. Like you would think that having some type of power over another person would benefit you, but it actually doesn't at all. It may even take you even further down the hole, in my experience at least. Like allowing like the power of like, hey, like or accepting like that person doesn't have power over me no matter the situation. Like that's more freeing than taking control of somebody in hopes that it gets you to a result you want.
What if that's really what was all going on here in our world? that this wasn't some people who have all this money and power and that they are controlling our existence. What if it was that they were controlling the karmic cycle, which was ultimately locking your soul into this dimension, that was continuing to make you reincarnate back here until you finally woke up to the understanding of the awareness of what free will and karma actually is. That has now given you the opportunity of your soul to actually advance and grow here, to allow yourself that opportunity to potentially connect back to that other version of yourself, that spirit version of yourself.
That also supports that, I don't want to call it conspiracy, but conspiracy theory of what's that one, accords or settings of meetings where supposedly, I mean, we all know that people rewrite history, but the alleged instance of like gathering of nations and great world, not great, but world leaders to rewrite history and say, okay, this is everything we agree on. Is this what you have in your books? Yeah, this is what I have in my books. Okay, that's what you have in your books? Okay, we all make this deal that this is what happened. And that kind of supports that theory that, you know, it's just making sure that people are perpetually stuck in this cycle. But yeah, like it just keeps people working. And I think some of the people that might have been suspected in there, like the Rockefellers, or I don't want to say the Carnegies because the Carnegie's done great things, but people like that, just world leaders getting together and agreeing, okay, let's make sure that we keep this structure set up, and then we'll keep people cycled. We'll keep everybody rotating back and nobody gets out of the fence.
See, I see those guys as, I have nothing against them. They had generations where they learned, if we're all sitting down here and we're playing Monopoly, we talked about this, I think, last time. If we're all sitting here and we're continuously playing the same game, dude, someone's going to learn how to beat everybody at that game at some point in time. And until you learn the tricks of the trade of how that person became them, then you're going to keep losing to them. Mm-hmm. So like, everybody wants to cry the blues, but like, if you want to play that game, bro, that game's out there. You've seen how many people have been able to do that. And if you think that that power system is the way that that power system is, then there's no reason to even give a shit about it. You go about yourself and you work on yourself.
Yeah.
And you do your thing. And you learn how do I walk through life? See, this is my thing. And I had a big ass conversation with your brother this weekend that the conversation kind of chapped my ass a little bit. But regardless.
My brother chapping someone's ass.
I was just like, man, he once again made me feel like, I've known the kid for 10 years, and he once again made me feel like he thinks that I came from some life of having a silver spoon. And that chaps my ass, man, because I did not come from, and I shouldn't get upset about that, but just I know how hard I've worked to get to where I am.
Yeah.
And I know how hard my parents worked to even put us into any opportunity for me to even get to this place. And then I was at least honorable enough to go to school and play the game of society and make my parents be able to have those conversations with people and be like, my son's an engineer.
Yeah.
You know, of like, I don't know, man. Like, I wasn't born with that. Like, I want to help people. But here's the thing. Wanting to help people is impeding their free will because you want them to be helpless. So wanting to help people is actually, you're hoping that there are people out there who are lower than you, who you can bring up to your level. Like, it's fucked that every single thing can be looked at as there's a potential, like, not a good way to look at it, or a way that kind of impedes someone's free will. And like, that's a hard concept. It's a concept that I'm not even close to wrapping my head around, or even beginning to really fully understand like how much that plays into this whole concept of consciousness and unconsciousness and your subconscious and just you.
Well, it's funny, even as a therapist, they ask in the beginning of like learning, to therapists manipulate people, and it's a trick question. The answer is yes. It's always yes. It's like you're getting people to do the things they should be doing and that they know they should be doing, and if you're good at it, you're getting them to do it willingly. But there's always that but. You are manipulating them and you are getting them out of their way. Whether it's through psychoeducation, whether it's waiting for them to deal the cards and then you show them their own cards. There's always that manipulation, whether I still see it as a good thing. Even if it's...
Yeah, it's hard, but I agree with you. You're helping someone potentially advance. You're helping someone come to that next level. That's the concept. That to me is the bodhisattva versus the Buddha. Like the Buddha's all for himself, enlightenment for himself, nirvana. I'm going to get it for myself. Where the bodhisattva is all about, I'm going to make sure everybody else gets to the table and eats before I eat. I can eat at any point in time because I can take care of myself and I can make any meal I want. But I'm going to make sure everybody else eats first.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, what the hell is the human experience, dog? Like, geez Louise. Like, there is so much to dig into. There's so much to talk about. There's so much to go back and forth on. And sometimes you can get to a place where you're just like, this is freaking me the fudge out.
How many times have you said fudge this evening?
Twice.
I thought it was 3.
It might be 3.
I like it. I gotta start saying fudge too.
I like it.
Yeah.
It feels kind of good.
It sounds good. Yeah. I like it.
Fudge.
Yeah. I say that a lot. I look around and I just go, fudge.
I want some fudge.
I feel like I need to say that more often because I really got comfortable with saying the F-bomb, and I don't want to say the F-bomb so much in front of people because some people are pretty thrown off by that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some people really don't like it.
That's really their fault.
Yeah, but that's right. That's once again, like,
that's my opinion. I never got that. Like people are like, oh, swearing is a lack of intelligence. Do you really need to swear to get your point across? Yeah. Yeah, actually I do. Yeah.
Actually release a little
Yeah,
cortisol.
actually, you know what? I like it. Yep. I think now, is it excessive use of it too much? Of course. But is the proper use of it too much? Nah.
No, I can
Yeah.
respect that, and I completely understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, man. Like, probably, it's like the same people who probably, like, still write in cursive. Like, why? Why do you do that?
Is it
No one
necessary
cares?
for me to call you guys dogs all the time?
Yeah.
No, but I like it.
Yeah.
Are you dogs? No.
Yeah. Don't impose on my free will to say fudge whatever I'd like.
Right. But that's exactly what I'm saying.
Let me
So
do
like,
my-
fuck,
let me-
what actually fucks with people's free will? That's what I'm
I
trying
knew
to
I could
ask.
get him. I knew I could get him to
What
say it.
fudges with people's free will, dog?
Yeah.
It's like if
But
you talk about
that's
Taco
like,
Bell enough, I'll
How
go.
many different things can you actually start to realize? Like, oh my goodness, I'm fucking with someone's free will.
yeah. Yeah.
You know, like, you know what really blew my mind was I stumbled upon the Monroe Institute today. Bro.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know what Monroe.
Bob Monroe, born in 1915, died in 1995. Okay. Homeboy made his like fortune in something that I'm going to forget. Oh, broadcasting. He made his fortune in broadcasting. And he had a near-death experience where he died and had an outer body experience, an OBE is what he started to call them, and came back to life and basically talked about like how he had this crazy outer body experience when he like basically died. And he started having these outer body experiences, but he wasn't someone who was trying to hunt them down. Like he wasn't me who ate nothing but raw fruit and friggin' smoothies for a month to try to astral project himself, was successful, but tripped his balls off whenever he did it because I was just like, what the hell did I just do? Like this homeboy didn't even try to hunt this stuff down And that stuff started to happen to him, to where he went to all these different psychiatrists to ask him, like, am I going insane or am I sane? And they were like, nah, all the questions that we would ask, like, you're down to earth, like, you're here, like, this kind of stuff just has been happening to people. And this is why I fuck with Bob Monroe the most, because they told him, they were like, hey, a ton of these guys are coming out in over in the East, coming out as gurus of being able to connect to the other side and all that kind of stuff. Like, you should go study with those guys. He laughed it off. Not leaving the United States to go over there to some place that I don't. So he laughed it off and he started the Monroe Institute, thinking like, oh, nobody's going to come out of nowhere to want to like start studying consciousness and all this kind of stuff. Dude, they're huge. Like massive. They just started releasing a podcast last year.
Wow.
And I'm like, started listening to it today and I was like, dude, how the hell did I like stumble upon this like right now, like while our podcast is starting to like really take off for us as we start to like learn how to do all this and broadcast and share this kind of stuff and do it to a good quality level. Like,
yeah, contrary to popular belief by our humongous audience, we, meaning Zach, do this all by ourselves. By himself, I should say.
So the thing that I liked about Bob Monroe the most was he said his concept on gurus were that in some essence, that they were all some type of a con man.
Of course.
And I was like, dog, I love that. I was like, ah!
I kind of agree.
Yeah.
In some instance, yeah.
Like I've
But it's like anything in life. Like it's transactional to them. You know, like it's like I'm gonna give you this, but like what am I gonna get? You know, you can learn something from that, you know, person, but I just feel like there's always a what's in it for me type factor.
right, because
That's a lot of interactions.
how do I play society or even make money to be able to go buy a plot of land and build a homestead and then be hidden in a corner in Wyoming?
Yeah.
How do I have to play the game. At some point in time, I have to play this game that was put in front of us. And if I choose to keep walking out of the room and disassociate myself with the game, then am I robbing myself of the human experience, or am I giving myself the opportunity to have an even greater human experience? Like, you have to sit there and toy with that. And that was what I was talking with your brother about. I was like, dude, I had that hard place of like, I felt just as lost as I feel like you might feel. Like, I don't know how to make money without messing with someone's free will. I don't know how to make money without potentially like something has to be transactional. So what am I giving to somebody to actually truly get money back that is like, all these things that we want in life are just a frequency. It's just a vibration. So money is no different. Money is just a frequency, a vibration. So if I'm able to tap in and connect with that frequency and that vibration, then money will flow to me. The currency of money will continue to flow to me whenever I need it. And people are like, that's some fucked up crazy shit. I'm like, but that's how this interesting world works. Like, everything is different levels of energy. Everything is different levels of frequency. And if you tap into those, you can tap into different parts of this wild, vast experience. So it's like, okay, so how do I tap into that? Oh, well, I have to break down my concept that money is bad because I think that all the people here who have money do bad things because they're the ones who keep oppressing all these people and keeping them consumers and stuck in this capitalistic society. So my view on money is, if I collect more money, then I'm going to become bad just like those people. And I'm like, fuck, dog, break that shit down. You don't have to think like that. You can think money equals good. If you had money, you would be able to do good with it. But then that crazy ass voice in the back of my head comes in and goes, but if you had money and you're hoping for people to be there to help, like, aren't you just hoping that there are going to be people that are hopeless or helpless? Like, fuck. So I'm contradicting my whole concept. I'm like, literally, I'm hoping for money to be able to help people because I think that there are more helpless people than there are people who can help themselves.
And if there's the helper, the helpless might be more helpless.
So it's like, holy shit, like everything stems back. So where are those, and I love that book, dog, The 4 Agreements. What are those agreements that you agree with? I feel like it's so hard to finally get to a place where you can truly understand what your existence is, truly understand your purpose, and be okay with it. And accept that that's all that it is. Because if all there is just, I have a purpose and I have an experience, then that just means that I don't have free will. So what do you believe in? Do you believe in that everything that's coming to you is random, which would argue that you truly do have free will, you have options to be able to pick decisions? Or do you believe that you have a purpose and you have an ultimate destiny here? That's where everything for me, just my thoughts, stem back to faith and purpose. If you don't have one of these two, or have not grasped one of these two, or don't have some type of like desire to build one of those stronger, then that's a tough fucking place to be in.
Yeah.
Because if I have nothing to believe in, whether that's something that I can become, whether that's something that's more than this experience, whether that's something outside of who I am at this present moment, then what the fuck is the purpose of even continuing the journey?
Yeah. But I think that's a lot of weight, though, for someone to carry. You're just saying that. I'm like, oh, shit. I need a purpose and I need all this, or I'm not living a fruitful life. Like, that's like, I'm like, damn, bro. Like, that is scary.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I've seen your face. Your face has changed.
Like,
your aura has completely changed in
like,
this conversation.
You're like, oh, dude, I need a.
I've been trying not to freak you the fuck out, but every time I keep talking, I keep seeing you get more
He read
fucking...
me wrong. No, you read me wrong. That might be the Lyme disease phase. So, no, I actually wrote down another quote. I was looking at quotes about surfing, and Timothy Leary wrote something about surfing and calling it like the destiny of man, which was so cool because it just mentioned like all you have is like the future ahead. The past is exploding behind you. Your wake's disappearing. Your footprints in the sand are gone. It's pretty much just a non-productive act that's done purely for the value of the dance itself. So I'm like, damn, that's freaking fudging sick, dude. That sounds great because in my opinion, yes, like there is purpose and there are beliefs and you do need to hold true to those, but I feel like the second you start putting too much weight into it, then you've lost the whole purpose anyway. The purpose is for there not just to be any purpose at all, because when you look back at the end of it, you're not going to give a shit at all.
You hit the nail where I was going, dog. Yeah. That makes me so happy.
Look how happy he is.
That makes me so happy.
Like it's just, that's it, dude. I don't need to say anything else.
No, we can wrap it up, actually.
Like...
Well, I talk more sometimes is what I think. When we talk, and I hear myself talk, you ever get on this podcast, Brandon, and you leave here after we record and you go, I should have just shut up for a minute, you know? I don't think you do, but I definitely do. I'm like, damn, dude, maybe you should just stop talking for a second.
Sometimes I was like sitting back and hearing you guys, and I'm like, huh, this is kind of fun to watch. Like I wouldn't even call it a tennis match, but I just like to step back.
Especially when Zach and I think we have opposing thoughts and we actually just meet at the same place in two different manners anyway.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch from the stands and just see it happening. I'm like, huh, I think this is going where I think it's going. I was like, yep, that's exactly where I thought it was going.
We don't just realize we're in Brandon's couple therapy the entire time we're here.
Right. So we hit the nail. Yeah. Oh, fuck you.
I am actually trained in couples therapy.
We broke it down, dude. It's just about enjoying the experience.
Yeah.
So if this experience is this experience, I'm going to get another experience because we know, science knows that there are no dead energy particles throughout the entire universe.
Yeah, it's
transformed.
Cat Williams in his brand new comedy show is called the Dark Matter Tour, and he's talking all about how what we know of our existence right here is only 5% of what we can see, and there is 95% that we can't even see right now, and we call that dark matter.
Yeah.
But inside of that dark matter, there are no dead energy particles. So he goes, you know what, bitch? That means when you die, you don't die. Like, you go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like,
you can't energy is you can't destroy it.
yeah,
You
it's
can't
the
destroy
law of
energy.
the conservation of energy.
Yeah.
It can only be transmuted.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what we all are sitting here like digging with, like, what is a purpose? What is an existence? What is this? And what is that? And it's just like, why don't we just keep like doing this thing where we keep like learning about ourselves, but like enjoying like the process of like.
No one ever walked up to me at James' wedding. They didn't come up to you, especially you of all people, and go, why are you dancing like that? I don't know, dude. I'm just doing it.
Like, why can't we all just be rolling down the street like Night at the Roxbury?
Well, that's it. Like that's like you know who the biggest buzzkill of all time is? The person that looks at someone who's dancing and thinks that they look stupid for dancing.
Boom.
Yeah.
That's the
Roasted.
worst person ever. Like, look how dumb that person. No, you're the big dummy, dude. And I've again, that's me. I've been in those shoes. Like, oh wow, you look so stupid right now. You know who looks stupid right now? You, for feeling that way about someone who has literally no effect on anything around you, other than the fact that you are a fucking stick in the mud.
Yeah.
How often does that happen in the morning when someone's in a really good mood and you're like, what the hell's his problem?
Yeah, exactly. Why are you not miserable just like me?
Shows up at work and it's like that person's super happy and excited. Is like, what the hell? That used to be me in high school. I would be all perky 7 in the morning. Everyone's just like, what the hell, Brandon? By senior year, I was napping for that hour.
Yeah.
But
This kid unconsciously just shows love. All right? This kid right here.
right.
I experienced this. He was sleeping on Sunday and Trisha was making breakfast. I was like, oh, I gotta go wake up Tit, especially before I leave. Plus, he needs to get down there and eat some of his bacon. So I go in, I climb in bed right next to him, and I tickle his face. He literally instantaneously just reaches to come over and just like fully hug me and embrace me into him. Not wake up and look like who just touched my face. Like, his reaction is just instantaneous. I love you. Like, you need a hug. Like,
God, you're lucky you didn't get a kiss.
I was getting prepared, dude. I was getting prepared for the forearm, dog. But yeah, just, I think what it comes down to is we just got to enjoy the wave, dude. Whatever that wave is, whatever that dance is at that moment, just enjoy it for what it is. Whether it's, sometimes that's really hard. Sometimes that's really difficult, especially when you're in some situations where you're just like, I can't look at this. Like, this is, wait, why am I here? And you're just like, I mean, I personally can't remember any instances in my past lives yet because I have not successfully been able to remote view my past lives, which is something that I think would be really cool at some point in time to be able to potentially do. I mean, we joke about who I could have potentially been in my past life because of who I am now. Anastasia thinks that I was a very good dancer in my past life. So yeah.
Anyway,
But overall, it just comes down to having that awareness and that understanding. And oh man, what a way to end the episode. But What do you got to add here at the end, Tid, as we roll out to finalize this?
I think something that's related and not related is from environmental geology. All waves are just circles. They go in, they come back out. It's just a circle. That's all a wave does. It goes one way, then it comes right back around. And then there is whatever number you want to attach to it. Millions within your little circle at the beach. There's just millions of circles that are passing and linking up. And they're just coming in, going out, coming in, going out. And, you kind of just kind of literally go with that flow.
Yeah.
That's all I have to add to it.
Yeah, what Teddy said.
All right, y'all. That was another installment of the Dismount Podcast. And today we had a discussion of go with the flow. Does the surfer ride the wave or control it? And as always, we had young Darius with us, the Derek. We had Brandon, the Tit Master. And we always say, don't trust us, trust yourself. We'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Bye. Don't hesitate to catch episode 17 releasing next week. Life's Dance with Karma. Is this some more woo-woo shit? Catch the video version of this podcast on YouTube. Catch the audio edition anywhere you listen to your podcasts. Take care. We'll see you out there.